see exactly what Wargaming did. This upper bar previously was about 160 millimeters thick. Now it is 213. The lower bar, well, it was just this middle skid plate here. It's now about 212. Unfortunately, the lower plate is still only about 120. Thankfully, it's quite easy to hide that. As long as you use your gun depression and angle the tank, this is what the turtle looks like. That is actually quite impressive. Even if you load premium shells from an Emil 1, there are still some red spots, as you can see, upwards of 250 millimeters thick on the Turtle Mark 1's armor. This is what I've wanted this tank to be like. I still think it's a bit weak. I wish this upper bar was maybe about 10 millimeters thicker. Then it would be actually really solid, because if you get vehicles that actually have decent penetration, like the Emil 1951, and you load premium, yeah, you're still going to pen it quite easily. But for a lot of tier 8s, especially ones that shoot standard ammo, standard is not going to penetrate a hull down turtle, which is fantastic. And if you look at tier 7s, like the 45 TP, even with premium ammo, you have no chance whatsoever to cut through a turtle. That is really good news. The turtle has gone from a vehicle that really couldn't bounce anything from anybody that had a brain cell to now a vehicle that can effectively get some pretty good bounces. Now, against tier 9s, you don't expect to bounce many shells. In fact, I'm going to show you a tier 9 battle after this where the armor just, it's good, but it's not great. I'll put it like that. It's not fantastic in every single situation. So, what do we have up against us? Well, we've got a Conqueror, we got a Conway, a Defender Mark 1, LT432, T49, a VK168, and a WZ110. And I've only played 4 battles in this tank today, so I can't formulate a complete opinion yet. I usually like to get about 10 or 20 battles in a vehicle before I get a pretty solid opinion on how it plays. But I can definitely say after these 4 battles that the armor is improved. I was in a game on Normandy, and there were 2 KV5s that I went up against, and they had to spam premium ammo to even kill me. And by the time they killed me, my entire team won the other side of the map. So the armor works on this vehicle, and realistically, because you have so much DPM, plus I really like the alpha of 330, when people are shooting premium shells at you, your 1400 hit points becomes about 30% higher, so you actually have a pretty even chance of beating enemy heavy tanks now that they've buffed the armor. I will still say, the tank is not fantastic. If you don't like slow vehicles, this will never be a tank that you want to put in your arsenal. And even if you do like slow tanks, I still think the AT-15 in most situations is better. Sure, it doesn't have as much alpha damage, but the AT just kind of feels like a better tank in a lot of situations, especially because the armor on the AT is still pretty decent for what it's worth. But I do think now that Wargaming has buffed the Turtle's armor and it doesn't really have a hatch on the roof, that it is definitely better than the AT-15, which is what it should have been originally, or they should have made the DPM better. So here we go, we're shooting at the WZ-110. I've put on my adrenaline, and this is where the DPM of this tank is absolutely fantastic. That is 3 shells we just pumped into that vehicle, bringing him down to 320 hit points, and I mean, you know we're going to do it again. Here we go, easy shot again. Oof, that guy, 1,587 hit points we are already sitting on here. This is pretty solid, and the LT432, I don't know what this guy was doing. He is terrible. This is the kind of guy that would make me really rage if he was on my team. We're going to try and get an HE shell into him, but unfortunately just goes a bit off from where I wanted it to. But, oh well, we're going to shoot a standard shell and anyway, finish off the LT432, and yeah, I lost a bit of brain cells watching what just happened there. But good news is, we're already at 2,000 damage, and now we're going to aim at the VK168. There's one nice shot into his vehicle. We're going to back up, aiming in another shell. Hello, give me your hit points. There you go, another nice tap for 272. A little bit of a low roll, but I can't complain as long as I pen my shots. And there you go, perfect roll of 330 right on my average. So right now, we're doing pretty good. You can clearly see where the turtle works pretty well. That was a just tad off from where I wanted it to go. That was definitely a bad shot for me. And the second shell here as well, I could have aimed a bit higher. So yeah, those 2 shots were 100% on me. The dispersion on this tank, it's not great, but you can definitely get it to work in a lot of situations. The 100 finishes off the 168, and now we're going to shoot the Conway backing up. He doesn't have a shell on me, and in 2 more seconds, we pull around again, get another nice shot into the Conway, and back in the cover. So this was a pretty nice game. If I'd penned those shells on that VK168, we could have dealt 4,000 quite easily, and you can nicely see how the turtle actually did a decent job in this game. I was surprised at how well it seemed to work. Now, the armor wouldn't have made a huge difference in that game. It really wouldn't have. But you can still see where it actually did an okay job. Now, this battle, I was up against a grody platoon of double 50 TP prototypes. I mean, that's about as overpowered as you can get. So, not only that, but they knew who I was. So that was a bit of a pain. I really didn't want to fight that. I even got a teeny bit salty, but I kept my cool throughout the battle because we actually managed to win this, which was pretty surprising to me. So I'm going to stick with my team. I'm in a slow vehicle, and one thing you have to know about slow tanks is that if you don't stick with your team, you are going to die. It's pretty common sense there. That's one thing I've changed a lot. I used to be pretty stubborn, and if my team didn't go the right way, I'd still try and go there and do my job, even if I died. I don't do that anymore. I've definitely started sticking with the team, especially with Supremacy, and I've managed to raise my win rate, at least in 30-day for like tier 10 by like 5% or so, which is pretty solid. Now I'm sitting at like 75, 76%, so I cannot complain. And when it comes to slow tanks, you really need to pay attention where you're going. If you don't, you're going to be set to a quick demise, especially in the turtle. Back into the lake you go where Sammy the turtle is. So what do we have on the enemy team apart from this 50 TPs? Well, we also got an Emil 1, a T-54, a Brat Chation Barask, a Indian Panzer, and as well a Jagdpanther too. So they got a pretty strong lineup. I mean, the Barask is one of the strongest performing tier 8s in the game right now. Absolutely hate fighting them, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a nice shell into that Emil. Sadly, that 50 TP was pre-aiming at me, so as soon as I shot, he got a shell into me, and yeah, that's quite a lot. That was 470 hit points or something like that I lost. Those guys not only out-trade me, but they have not a lot of armor, and as you can see in chat, I was like, man, I really don't like fighting 50 TPs. It is not fun. Good news is, at least I got a big old slap into his tank. We're already sitting at around 600 hit points, so we're not doing bad. I just don't like losing a third of my hit points from one single shot, if you know what I mean. So what are we going to do here? Well, we got the Indian Panzer in front of me. Nice shot into him. Got to back up, and oh, God, again. Gee, that's just where the turtle's armor does not work very well. It just gets buttered when it comes to tier 8s like the 50 TP, or tier 9, should I say, in that situation. But we're doing good. He's not looking at me, as you'll notice, so I thought maybe I could overmatch his trapule, but no, unfortunately not. So instead, I've got my adrenaline on. I watched him shoot, so I'm going to get a shell into the Indian, or not. But we're at 1,600 damage, so we're not doing terrible here. But, what hit me? There's the 54, which means that's got to be the Brask, or either the Jagdpanther 2. So I'm going to back up, and, well, I don't think I'm detected right now. At least I didn't think so, but holy, we just bounced 3 shells, one of them being from a Barask. But guess what? No more Barask for you, buddy. Oh, man, that was really, really just iffy there. I thought I was going to die. I really did, but we came out alive. And I'll be honest, I probably should have died. But hey, that's the new and improved turtle armor. Look, we actually got bounces. Now, I'm going to be honest. The 54 here, he was bad. He was absolutely terrible. But back to what I was saying. Look at that. We actually got bounces on the tank. So, pretty surprising. But there you go. One nice shot into the 54. And, I mean, this guy just, he's bad. He's running the tier 8 gun, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say. We're just going to continue shooting him. We've already taken off 2,600 hit points. Let's get another shell in. And normally, I should have died here. I mean, if this was an upgraded T-54, I would have died, but I purposely face-hugged this guy because I knew it would hide my weak lower plate, and because of that, he didn't pen me, so we're at 3,200 damage now. All that's left is the enemy 50 TP prototype, and look at that, another bounce on the Jagdpanther there. Pretty nice. I mean, the armor works. We blocked 2,100 damage in this game, and yes, I know some of you in the chat are going to say I went up against morons, but it worked. I mean, as much as you can argue it, I guess the armor did its job, so I'm not going to knock it. There you go. Pretty nice game. With that fire, we were able to deal over 4,000 damage. And there you go. There's the turtle. Do I think it's a good vehicle? I wouldn't say it's great. I mean, I could definitely pull out an AT-15 and still have an extra 1,000 damage per minute, sitting at 3,938 over what is the 3,000 DPM on the turtle. So there are big advantages over the turtle still for the AT-15. But at least the tank has something going for it. So if you wasted your money on this vehicle and you feel like you were robbed, maybe now it's a bit better for you to pull out. Apart from that, I still wouldn't suggest for you to get your hands on this vehicle. Even when it comes out cheap, there's a lot of other tanks that are better, and just get an AT-15 if you want a more enjoyable experience. You can even run the other gun on the AT-15, which gives you much, much more damage per shot at 300, still with 3,600 DPM. So yeah, that's my opinion, but let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. Other than that, I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.